Steve, you have focused intensively, of course, in recent months on the election coming up and the kind of course correction that it has a potential of providing us. You remember as well, you mentioned it, Ronald Reagan's appeal to the American people for a course correction back in 1980. He got a mandate to do it. How important is it, do you think, that candidates for office this time around both be clear about the nature of the threat we're facing from the CCP and committing to such a course correction? We've offered a brief. People can find it at ccpatwar.com to help with that. But is this really part and parcel, do you think, of the agenda going forward for those seeking to run this country?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to tie the original Committee on the Present Danger in the Reagan administration and the takedown of the Soviet Union to what we're doing today. For our audience, remember, the underlying thesis of the Committee on the Present Danger, China, is that the Chinese Communist Party is not a legitimate government of China. It is a transnational criminal organization. And our sole focus is its destruction. In concert with the Chinese people, as we remember, in the takedown of the Soviet Union, it was the freedom fighters in Eastern Europe, right? It was the freedom fighters in Eastern Europe from Romania to Poland, all of it just threw off the shackles, captive nations, and the Russian people. Remember, the Russian people did what the Russian people were our allies in World War II as the Chinese people were our allies. These people are allies. It's the superstructure over top of them. The Chinese Communist Party is an illegitimate government. It is a transnational criminal organization. That is the basic underlying thesis. That was very much the thesis of the Committee on the Present Danger. We have to look to victory, not to rapprochement, not to containment, not to getting along. That is the
and
same.
Delegitimating, that was a key piece of it.
Delegitimize. And by the way, we know Wang Qishan and senior members of the Chinese Communist Party focus on the Committee on Present Danger because they are one of the things they're most concerned about is questions about their legitimacy. This gets to be the basic, and that separates the Committee on Present Danger from so many. Josh Rogan wrote this amazing book about the Trump years in the war with China. And he said, hey, you have this group that's kind of different than Pompeo and the hardliners, different than the realists of Mattis and the rest of the foreign policy, and different than the appeasers, the accommodationists on Wall Street, the Kushners and the Mnuchins, right? The Wall Street guy. You have this group called the Superhawks, and these Superhawks question the very legitimacy and actually want to take down the Chinese Communist Party in coordination with Lao Beijing, the Chinese people. That's the difference of what you're about to see. We have shifted the Overton window. The biggest thing we've shifted the Overton window, I think, is actually the identification of the Chinese Communist Party as separate from the nation of China and separate from the Chinese people. That is the Committee on the Present Danger. And that's why Frank's point about the corruption and influence peddling in the nation's capital, some of the think tanks, their stuff is all happy talk, right? On Wall Street and the global corporations. When you're in Washington and when you're on Wall Street, if you go to the heartland of this country, you can talk in shorthand to the American people because they understand what's going on. That's the power of the Committee on the Present Danger. And listen, you're going to see this become a bigger and bigger issue. I believe in 2024, this will be one of the 2 or 3 biggest issues in presidential primaries and in running for president. And I think that this is where we're exposing the radicals in the Democratic Party, particularly progressives, who used to be pro-democracy, Tiananmen Square people, have now been exposed to, for climate change and global warming and all these types of things, we have to get along. That's why the work of the Committee on the Present Danger is unique, vital, and urgent.